Hey everybody, it's Troy. Hey listen, check out this segment from Tucker Carlson's show. He's interviewing a New York City pharmaceutical heiress by the name of Anabella Rockwell about her experience at Mount Holyoke College in Massachusetts, which was apparently so damaging to her that her mother had to pay $300 a day for a deprogrammer, believing that she had been indoctrinated into some kind of liberal cult. Check this out.
I mean, as time went on and I studied history, I became completely brainwashed into believing that I was oppressed by our toxic patriarchal society. And I left school. I was sad, anxious, intellectually starving. And by 2015, when I graduated, I completely estranged myself from my family.
Yeah, well, that is underneath it all. We joke about the lunacy on college campuses, but the real cost is not that they'll vote Democrat. The real cost is that they won't love their parents anymore. And that's the most upsetting part of it, I think. So how did you get better?
So in this panic of me not communicating with my mother, she consulted a cult specialist. This person gave her devastating statistics that most people don't make it out, but a glimmer of hope that it tends to be young women who do. So she spoke to him and he made it very clear to her, do not affirm your daughter's newfound identity. You know her best. She is your child. Don't affirm her.
Yes.
So she was taught how to communicate with me. Now, to actually be deprogrammed, I had to humble myself. A couple things. I reconnected with my family. I moved home. I asked for forgiveness. I admitted I was wrong. Secondly, I made a lifestyle change. I stopped drinking. I started to believe in God again. And lastly, I had to unlearn my 4 years of wokeism by watching 5-minute PragerU videos online for free.
Amazing.
Republicans have been waging a not-so-secret war on higher education for decades, and the reason is simple. Because college-educated people vote for Democrats in very, very big numbers. So rather than trying to correct that issue, Republicans have gone to a propaganda technique trying to convince people that college is either a scam or liberal indoctrination. They blast it out on Fox News. But what I found very, very interesting is that this woman, Anabella Rockwell, is the development director for PragerU, which is not a university. It's a conservative right-wing propaganda YouTube channel hosted by Dennis Prager, a conservative podcast host. So this woman's literal job is to try and convince young people to not go to college, but rather listen to fake PragerU, fake University PragerU's 5-minute YouTube videos for conservative MAGA fascist indoctrination. She didn't have any agenda coming on Tucker Carlson's show whatsoever to try and convince people to not go to college with her own, seemingly horrific experience that she had at a tiny liberal arts college in Massachusetts. But the most damaging part of this is that this so-called deprogrammer was telling her mother to ignore her newfound identity, that her mother knew her best, and that everything that she had experienced in college should just be nullified by her mother's own experience. So once again, a nod to not accepting gender identities, a nod to intolerance. Universities do not indoctrinate their students to leftist thinking. All that universities do is teach youth to question what they've been taught, to develop critical thinking skills for the purposes of developing critical thinking skills. In fact, professors will more often than not adopt a conservative line of thinking in order to play devil's advocate, because many youth that go to college already hold liberal left-wing beliefs. Professors will often assume the conservative point of view to get them out of their comfort zone to challenge those beliefs. The purpose of college being critical thinking skills. So anyone who goes to college and feels like they're being indoctrinated into some sort of leftist agenda is obviously struggling with those critical thinking skills. But the sad fact about the MAGA Republican Party is that reality does tend to have a liberal bias. If you spend all of your time focusing your echo chamber on things that aren't true, like trans people are grooming children to be sexualized, like the election was stolen, like climate change is not real, if you spend all of your time trying to convince your followers of those things for your political benefit, when your children go to college and learn that you're completely fucking full of shit, it might pose a problem for your political movement. But Anabella Rockwell, now gleefully back in the clutches of the MAGA movement, safe from her horrific experience at a tiny liberal arts college in rural Massachusetts. We can only thank God that she was saved from her quote-unquote liberal cult and now safely raising money for PragerU, which absolutely has nothing to do with any kind of indoctrination whatsoever. For MeidasTouch, this is Troy. Remember, smash that subscribe button to keep supporting independent media.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.